Hello there, and welcome to the 11th episode of Strategic Zoomcast. And it's a new patch, ladies and gentlemen. It's December 2015. We've got new units, new rebalanced factions, new meta, new commander balance, new everything, including the revamped OKW from the south, as Tomakaze represents. On Longer Sky versus his northern opponent, Crazyfire24, as the Soviets. So very interesting. You'll notice the Kubelwagen with its newfound capping ability, 115% speed there. And it seems like we've already got the first SWS truck coming out, the supply half truck, 100 manpower, 15 fuel, already spent by Tomakaze, so he's not going for a Volksgrenadier intensive build, it seems. Volksgrenadiers obviously cost a little bit more now, you'll notice, 250 manpower, but they are better with small arms fire. They do deal more damage. Shoe mine coming down from Tomakaze here, so it's interesting what he's going for. You will notice the Soviet player Crazyfire has gone for tier 2, which is always good on Longer Skya. So yes, it's interesting that we've got this truck coming up. Probably going to go for the battle group headquarters, or nice mine as well. Here's 2 mines in total. That mine's a good mine because it's so close to this door, and also you get a lot of bunching up around that area there, so it's good. Already Tomakaze's pushing straight north for the cutoff, the ever vulnerable cutoff on Longer Skya. Will he get within the capping circle? It seems he does. The Maxim, which has just come onto the field, is now going to prevent, hopefully for Crazyfire's sake, prevent the Stern Pioneers capping the cutoff. You never want to lose your cutoff so early into the game. It's going to obviously stop your munitions and fuel tech, which is all important as to when your first, T-70 can hit, and when your first, how many Molotovs you can fire or mines you can lay indeed. So Maxim does a decent job of pushing the Stern Pioneers away, but the Volksgrenadiers do manage to reduce the conscripts down to 2 men. Looks like the supply half truck's now becoming, yes, a battle group headquarters, so we're going to be checking that when it's set up to see what he's got at his disposal from that truck, because it all has changed quite significantly. Good bit of wire there from Crazyfire, stopping that tractor being used as green cover. Volksgrenadiers just going to have to stand in the middle of the map firing against a house. Maxim's going to protect the cut-off seemingly for the next portion. Another conscript is building. Tomakaze's got a very small army. The Wagen, the Kubelwagen, is going to come in to offer some supporting fire. Obviously no suppression now, just a lot of capping and a little bit more robust, especially around the rear, it must be said, for the Kubelwagen in its favour now. Volksgrenadiers repositioning from the battle group headquarters. If we were to go through it now, he's got the ISG, the infrared, or the flak half track. Oh, watch out for the mine! Oh my god! Full squad wipe there for Tomakaze. An early defeat for Crazyfire. He's lost an entire... Oh, sorry, what am I on about? It's the other way around. Crazyfire with a great early pickup against Tomakaze. The mine absolutely devastating those Volksgrenadiers. So that puts Crazyfire decidedly in the lead, it would say. I mean, Tomakaze only had 2 Volksgrenadiers anyway, of which 1 died, forcing him to rebuild the other. It's been a very long week at work for me, I must say. So if I come out with some crap like completely getting the players' names the wrong way around, you'll have to forgive me. We've got a fuel cache already coming up for Crazyfire, so that's very interesting. That's going to stop any cut-off action and slingshot his T-70 a little bit earlier into the game. Another Maxim coming out, so he's not against any form of infantry spam whatsoever. Volksgrenadier spam is not a thing he's up against. So he's already wary of that mine, is Tomakaze now. He's got the Stern Pioneers with their minesweeper set up. From the battle group headquarters, you'll now see that this flak half track is going to be making its presence very shortly known. Shrek's upgraded as well for Tomakaze, so this early T7... Oh, nice demo there. Have to keep an eye on that. It's pitching itself to be an excellent early battle between these 2 players, it must be said. The Kubelwagen getting repaired. So here comes the flak half truck. So this thing is a pretty decent anti-infantry capability, especially when it's hitting 6 minutes into the game. It's going to be interesting to see what he manages to do with that. The Shrek is now known. A bloody Rakettenwerfer also building, so he's got no shortage of anti-tank, it seems. Especially so early in the game. So if these guys are going to put tier 3, yes, they're putting tier 3 up now, which is a delayed T70. First salvo opens up, doesn't do a particular amount of damage. Conscripts capping up the east. We've got pushing on the west, obviously, with the Kubelwagen. Obviously, that now has no cone of fire because it's simply a very light vehicle. Driving over its own shoe mine. It sees, with the expanded line of sight there, it sees the Maxim, and the Flakov truck comes to deal with that thing. Doesn't quite get any shots in because of its setup time. And this Crazyfire is largely nullified now he's seen the track, the flak. He's got 2 Maxims, 3 conscripts, so although he's picked up a Volksgrenadier with a mine, you know, it's not going that well for him. He's backing the ass up of the flak half truck. He is setting up now. Peppering the conscripts with fire. They do a very good retreat using an Ura. Get the hell out of there. And look how quickly the fuel cache is dissipating. It's a great choice from Tomakaze, it seems. He couldn't have predicted the fuel cache, but it did work out really well for him. And now he's going to see the demo, so that's Crazyfire losing obviously some very well spent munitions, or seemingly now not very well spent at all munitions. But of course he did get a squad wipe with a single mine, so it more than makes up for it, I guess. Maxim in this house, which has had its entire southern facing wall ripped off. This going to just about see the Volksgrenadiers trying to cap. You would have thought they were outside the cone of fire, but it seems like they're not. This Maxim trying to watch over the cutoff, because obviously there's no fuel cache to keep it from being taken now, so he's got a little bit more vulnerable than it was. Interesting shoe mine just in front of this green cover log pile. Elsewhere, the flak half truck is now repositioning. I mean, I'd be tempted to let him come in that shoe mine, to be honest. Seems like not going to go for it quite yet. He is set up to clear up what happens after the shoe mine goes off. Maybe. Volksgrenadiers get an incendiary grenade, routing the Maxim. There you go, the shoe mine goes off, picking up 3 models against the conscript and doing a large degree of health damage. We don't have medics, or field infirmary as it's known, in the Soviet headquarters quite yet. Maxim opening up on the Volksgrenadiers, pushing them away, and it's a standoff, ladies and gentlemen. The Kubelwagen is not got much map to cap up because it seems like most of it is in Tomakaze's favour at this point. Putting some sandbags behind the territory point there for new players. That's a very good thing to do because it means the opponent's forces can't get on the their active side of the sandbags, but you can get on your active side of your sandbags by sticking it very close to a fuel point there. So the Maxim set up. He's also got an ISG soon to contend with, so a mortar wouldn't be a bad option for Crazyfire, or indeed a Zis, you would have thought. And the Zis is indeed coming onto the field now. It is going to have line of sight very shortly. First shot misses. Does indeed hit this wood. And it's rather lulled now for a moment whilst the flak half-track thinks, right, it is a possibility that I die at some point. The flak the Schwerpanzer headquarters, as it should be called, is setting up in a very vulnerable position for the long game, because an Su-85 here could just smash it. An Su-76 even would just smash it. Zis guns, well-supported Zis guns, making use... Oh god, the Kubelwagen nearly dies. Was that to a anti-tank grenade? It indeed was to an anti-tank grenade. They are going to get pushed away, however. Maxim trying to keep the victory point whited because Tomakaze's put significant victory point pressure on the Soviet player at this point in the game. 358 remaining to 500. Tomakaze showing his pedigree there. Kubelwagen's very slowly retreating away. You'd be expecting Crazy Fist to try and get rid of that. Good fire from the Zis using its field artillery ability. In the east, we've got that engagement. You've seen that Crazyfire's had to go around the southern tip of the sandbags to make use of it. Light artillery barrage, it's called. Su-76 coming out very shortly, so that's going to be an interesting thing to have, especially when he works out where the Schwerpanzer headquarters is, as I alluded to earlier. Right, now, so Crazyfire is finally getting a victory point under his belt, and the middle one's whited, so he will stop the drain for now. It's a fairly robust amount, so it does give him a large potential to start making inroads in this game. Finally getting his standard territory point in the north back. I mean, that was largely neglected, and you wouldn't have seen OKW cap it very often if it wasn't for the Kubelwagen, which now allows OKW to do things like, you know, capping peripheral points where they usually wouldn't be bothered by it, and it all adds up, you know. Nice shot in from the newly built Su-76. Flak Tracks trying to Michael Jackson out of there. Second shot, however, misses, which is unfortunate for Crazyfire. Another Shrek upgraded on Volksgrenadiers there. Combat Engineers massively outgunned, but these conscripts going to make up for that. Stern Pioneers doing their high DPS work, getting rid of the Volksgrenadiers. First ISG shot that I've seen in particular. Well, it's indeed got no kills whatsoever, so it's probably found out at some point. Indeed, most likely by the light artillery barrage from the ZIS that we saw. And we're going to be seeing a lot more of that action because you've got the light artillery barrage of the Su-76 soon. So you're going to be peppered with spray for most of the game, most likely. And it's interesting, Su-76 obviously is not the most fleshy of units, so trying to get up close and personal with the Schwerpanzer, you're going to be running up against Shreks, as we're now seeing happen. But this building's very good position to be holding for Crazyfire. He can protect the flanks around the east, the fuel and the victory point. As you see, he has had that for a sustained period now. But what he's mostly lacking is any kind of presence to get rid of the Volksgrenadiers. They're a little bit more aggressive now in this patch, so you know, some shock troopers would be nice. However, it must be said, he has of course gone for the new Soviet industry tactics. So he's got no elite infantry at his disposal. ISG opening up on the eastern house. Volksgrenadiers pushing hard. Demo in their wake! Does indeed get the wipe on one Volksgrenadier. The Shrek is not retakeable there. Schwerpanzer opening up. So unfortunately for him, it wasn't a double wipe. That would have been nice. But this is Crazyfire's moment to push for that central victory point. Unfortunately, I think... No, he could definitely push to the northern sector of it. The Schwerpanzer would not be anywhere near him. But yes, back to Soviet industry. Oh god, hang on. Back to Soviet industry as it now is. It's obviously got Allied supply drop rather than the ability Soviet industry, which is interesting. Schwerpanzer, sorry, the Flak Tracks opening up against the house. This will do very good damage if he doesn't get out of there. Su-76 going to try and... God, the Maxim did some good damage before the Su-76 got nearly the killing blow. We see a Panzerfaust go in from the Fallschirmjägers newly deployed. Conscript still not pushing for that central VP. He's going to have to take it sooner rather than later because he's slipping. So Tomakaze has indeed chosen Luftwaffe ground forces, which is probably the most popular overall OKW doctrine, and it still remains that way by the looks of things. Got a nice synergy of abilities. Obviously there's no OKW doctrine that is like a killer app that you must require. Nothing like Rifle Company, how it was in October, for example. Thank God that's been changed. That shoe mine's been there nearly the entire game. It was the first munition spent by Tomakaze. In the west, the combat engineers have been capping up. The Volksgrenadiers are going to try and put a stop to it. In the east, the Fallschirmjägers that have already got 3 kills, and obviously the Faust against the Su-76 bringing them nearly up to 1 pip of veterancy. And they're capping the victory point. Here you go, over barrage of fire. God, they're high flying, aren't they? Jesus Christ! Good. I will catch them later, but yeah, they were a high flying plane. Nothing like a Sturmovik. A Sturmovik flies about that range. So yeah, decent amount of fuel there. You just saw his fuel, Crazyfire's jump up, and that's going to give him, of course, the KV-8 within 9 CPs, and then the new KV-2. I say new because it's got over 1,000 hit points now, not just a paltry 800. So it's a pretty damn good heavy tank now, it seems. Watching Lovenest use one in a 2v2, and he was just dominant with it. Kessenwerf has been found out. There's no point staying in that. These Fallschirmjägers, there's no point staying in this engagement either. You're against 4 separate squads worth of fire. I mean, green cover's good and all, but you're going to have to retreat outside of green cover. There you go, that's that. Fortunately for Tomakaze, he was not focus fired. The conscripts that were further south were busy repositioning. SU-76 finally getting repaired. That is the only vehicle fielded for Crazyfire so far. And what's this for Tomakaze? He's used the Schwerpanzer headquarters to get something that isn't a Panzer IV. Oh, nice shot in from the ZIS! Dissipating that squad. Absolutely dissipating. That's the 3rd squad wipe I've seen in Crazyfire's favour. But as I was saying, here comes the Panzer V, the Panther tank. You know, he could have played it safe and gone for a Panzer IV, but it seems like it's worked in, I'd say, his favour, because Crazyfire's not got any access to call-in tanks yet. So, and when he does, he's going to be coming up against that Panther, and the Panther is, you know, a beefy unit, much beefier than a Panzer IV would be. In the centre, Tomakaze solidifying his control of the central victory point, and as I was saying earlier, Crazyfire is going to have to make a push for that sooner rather than later. He's now got 220 victory points remaining, and Tomakaze's still got 500. So obviously Soviet Windustry is a very good late game doctrine, but he's going to have to push at some point, and you know, when is that moment going to come? Just taking little pot shots with your SU-76 is not going to cut it when it comes down to the nit and gritty. Panther tank with a gorgeous camo for this map. ISG coming on some fire from the SU-76. It is a max range, so it's not going to do much. Say that, there we go, it does hit once. Decent amount of health damage. Here comes a mortar, ever favourable on Longraskaya. But this shoe mine just north of the victory point is going to put damage on these conscripts when they come to cap. And here comes conscripts. They do miss the incendiary grenade, but they're up against the Kubel, a Panther. There's the mine going off. This conscript again is going to be in the retreat path of the Fallschirmjäger, now running fire as well, and a hail of bullets, so not the most favourable situation for them. Good fire in on the Panther. Both the ZIS and the SU-76 opening up. It is going to have a retreat. It even destroys its own sight blocker. ISG firing on nothing. The newly built KV-8 splattered in blood tank is coming up straight away, seemingly against the Schwerpanzer headquarters, and this will be a nice little pickup if he manages to get rid of this. He's going to have to use the heavy anti-tank, if that makes any sense, to pepper it, whilst the flame tank acts as a deterrent, and the Panther does not want to rush in against it because he will change targets against it, because that is a much higher priority target to get rid of the Panther. Definitely would be a pickup. SU-76 is having to relinquish. He should be attacking ground, really, I think. Doesn't necessarily need line of sight. He knows exactly where the Schwerpanzer is. Fallschirmjäger's lying in wait. Possibly, if he needs to, he can push hard. There's an MG34 built for Tomakaze. That's going to mean he's going to just keep this central victory point. Maxim, thankfully for Crazyfire, is going to open up on the eastern victory point. It's no longer north, mid, south on Longraskaya, of course. It's now west, mid, east. Shrek and a Kessenwerf open up on the SU-76. He's going to need to keep that thing alive because he's got 2 pips of veterancy. Fortunately for Crazyfire, they both miss. MG34 has been lost. That's not good. And it's retaken, so we've got a lot of anti-infantry now for Crazyfire. He can really begin it to hold the central victory point if indeed he finally actually takes it. So he's finally whited it there. He's on 205 victory points, and this is his moment to really try and make a name for himself on this map. The Fallschirmjägers finally, after waiting for their perfect moment to assault, are doing so now. KV-8's fully repaired though, so that's probably going to push them away as soon as it bursts into action. In the central victory point, it seems the Volksgrenadiers are under a heavy fire from the mortar. whilst before it retreated anyway, so it did enough work just before it retreated. KV8 still waiting to spring into action. ISG is going to push again away, so it seems Tomakaze with a skeleton crew of infantry. Really don't think that 2 Maxim possibly was the way forward for Crazyfire, or if indeed he was going for 2 Maxims, he needed to be more aggressive. Well, needs to be, not needed, because it's not nowhere near over 205 victory points, and indeed with Soviet industry not having that manpower throttle, it's highly possible that they could absolutely dominate on Longoskaya, and love to see that, to be honest. Panther watching over the middle. You got the Stern Pioneers pushing. He does not want to lose that victory point because he knows he's... Well, does he know he's up against Soviet industry? Possibly does, because it's obviously been revamped, so, and he saw it in the lineup of Crazyfire, so I reckon he knows what he's up against. He knows he's going to have a KV2 late game. Hence, probably stalling for a Panther, actually. Nice push from Tomakaze. He's got 4 units with a Panther backup. Rakettenwerfer's pushing up. You've got the ISG peppering Crazyfire's positions with fire. Panther's taken some shots, so more shots coming. Main gun destroyed. 1 more shot needed. Not going to get it thanks to the Volksgrenadiers keeping his anti-tank at bay. But that was close, and that's going to mean the KV8, now it's springing into action, is going to be largely uncontested for a period. Rakettenwerfer's been found out, it seems. Going to have a full retreat, which means the Fallschirmjäger's going to have to get the Faust off. But they're dicing with death in doing so. 1 man remaining, tiny bit of health. Hull gunner maybe? No, doesn't quite get the kill. Schwerpanzer opening up on the KV8, obviously going to bounce all of those shots, but just enough to deter it from advancing any further. And the victory point is still in Tomakaze's favour, down to 192 now for Crazyfire. In the east he's got the Maxim watching over. In the west you've got the Kubelwagen. Not got much to do anymore, because obviously not a suppression unit, and the game's too busy now for it. It'd just be a suicide unit if at all required. Of course, you know, if like Crazyfire was to, for example, get a howitzer on the field, it could act as a suicide line of sight unit, maybe. But other than that, it's pretty useless. Wagen's vet abilities detection, which it could have been using if it had achieved veterancy, but it's going to be difficult to get, especially... I know 1 pip of veterancy maybe, not 5. Could you imagine? Nice shot on the Volksgrenadiers, and here we go. The full assault to Crazyfire needed is in action. He's got the Maxim acting as a more forward-focusing unit. No, indeed, this is the MG34. You'll notice now that a second Panther is coming on the field for Tomakaze. 2 Panthers. Vet 3 Su-76, all kinds of bonuses there, including increased rate of fire at veterancy 3, which makes it very potent. I believe it's plus 25%. Kubelwagen has repositioned to do some capping, so all that crap I was saying about it being utterly inactive is now going to do something, and it's going to try and flank this Maxim. Maxims, of course, have good ability to... Good shot in from the Panther on the KV8. How quickly will Crazyfire react? Not quickly enough, perhaps. Kubelwagen's probably going to go down against the Maxim because he's too busy focused on the centre. Indeed, that's about to die. Let's just watch it die. There it is. It's now dead. KV8 all the while retreating. You've got a repair station for Crazyfire. He does have more munitions than that if he did so require. And that's another great thing about Soviet industry. It can repair so fervently. You can use crew repairs and use your repair stations for maximum effect. Panther rushing in. It's not possibly the wisest decision. We do indeed see the anti-tank grenade also go in. The KV8 is going to put pressure on the Volksgrenadiers. However, the second Panther comes in against the Su-76. The ZIS is not facing the right way. The Su-76 takes the second shot, but does retreat over the green cover wall into his own base to get out of there. All the while, you've got Fallschirmjägers putting a grenade in on the stolen MG34. Stern Pioneers trying to cap the centre. Panther is now under threat of anti-tank grenades, but the ZIS is still facing the other Panther, which is retreating, so both Panthers still alive. The Su-76 still alive. KV8 went down to the second Panther, so that was a loss for Crazyfire and a win for Tomakaze. Seems the Schwerpanzer headquarters is watching out over half that victory point, as we said earlier. Both shoe mines in the centre, well, just north of the centre, still active for the OKW play, so we'll keep an eye on them for later. So it's watching over the centre. I mean, it must be said this SU-76 needs to stay alive because it's pretty much the jewel in Crazyfire's crown at the moment. Look how much manpower he's floating. That's disgusting. Get some of your manpower spent, Crazyfire. What's he waiting for? He's waiting for... He only needs 630 for a KV2. He should be spending the rest of that on another conscript squad, another ZIS. He's getting another ZIS now, thank God. There you go. He's spent it, thank you. Never float 1,000 manpower with 55 pop cap. Another... probably an incendiary nade. Yes, he is going to have to treat with a Maxim. Conscripts going into the centre. SU-76 trying to thwart the Volks Grenadiers. And when have we seen this beautiful KV2 rock onto the field? 9 more fuel. Fallschirmjägers opening up on the combat engineers. It's still this central victory point whited. Probably the most contested victory point of all time is the Longer Sky central victory point. Pretty much is the entire pivot by which Longer Sky hinges. Hinge around a pivot, or do you pivot around a hinge? I'm not sure about that one. Here comes the KV2. That utterly disgusting behemoth is waddling onto the field with its gigantic cannon. And it will penetrate the frontal armour of a Panther. However, of course, it will be penetrated itself if caught out of position, so you have to use it to its benefit. There you go, you saw the Rakettenwerfer wipes. KV2 about to open up with its first shot. Panther's possibly aware of it. First shot does nothing. Panther goes for the flank on the KV2. ZIS is turning to face the right way. The second ZIS also faces the right way. Will the KV2 get a shot in on the Panther? Of course, it can get cruise shock as well with that gigantic shell. Such a lot of ordnance. Nice shot in there. 2 men on the Volksgrenadier. The central conscripts don't quite get the centre thanks to the Vet 2 Fallschirmjägers. Such a lot going on in the centre there. It's a bloody killing match. But 2 ZIS guns, that's what Crazyfire needed. He's got the SU-76 still, he's got 2 ZIS guns, and he can really put some damage down on the Panthers. He's still got his 2 original Maxims. He's got the stolen MG34 opening up in the centre to try and keep the Fallschirmjägers from capping. Another shot in from the ZIS gun with its light artillery barrage. Here comes the Panther. Doesn't want to linger for too long though because there's so much anti-tank in it. If Crazyfire so wishes, he could really go for an attack on the Panther. Repairing the KV2 at double time with the Vet 2 combat engineers and the repair station. So there you go, he's also got Vet 2 bonus for repair. So it seems Crazyfire has not attacked Tomakaze's west at all, because obviously the 2 mines are still there, and I saw the fuel get harassed a little bit, I must say, actually. ZIS bounces on the Panther. KV2 won't though, if that gets a shot in. He's got such a prepared line. If there was a walking Stuka on the field, it would be have a... Oh, five kills with its first shot. Panther comes in to attack. Raketten bounces. Panther shot bounces. Panther does get penetrated by one of the... I think the SU-76 got a shot in. Another shot from the KV2. It's up to 9 kills. Its last 2 shot salvos. 7 kills in total. So it's averaging about 3 or 4 kills a salvo right now. It's not bad at all. No, it's averaging 3, isn't it? It's got 3. It's quite easy to divide that 9 by 3, I find. Okay, and we had a sync error due to probably my atmospheric presets trying to get rid of fog. So we're now back on vanilla Longoraskaya. 29 minutes 50 in. And here comes the second Panther. It's going to make a rush up against probably the KV2, but that's nearly full health. We've got also airborne assault cooldown on the strong position of Crazyfire. So the Stukas are going to do some interesting work, and then the Fallschirmjägers are going to drop from the sky. The Panther's been caught with its pants down, seemingly. ZIS opening up doesn't penetrate the frontal armour. Fallschirmjäger's going to have to retreat, probably a death march, in fact, because it came down so far and deep within Crazyfire's territory. And there you go, the KV2 gets the kill. 10 kills on that thing. Interestingly, Crazyfire is capping very forwardly with a Vet 2 combat engineer there. You want to keep that thing alive if you can throughout the game, because obviously the bonuses it represents. KV2 seems to be attacking the western strong house of Crazyfire, which lingers over the central victory point, and it's down within 2 shots. So there's something that Tomakaze will not be able to view the central victory point from anymore. Is that Vet 2 combat engineer that it seems like Crazyfire has forgotten about seemingly? He doesn't want it to die, but he's got no choice in the matter because the Schwerpanzer headquarters is opening up. Oh, last shot before he probably would have survived. It's now dead. KV2 is marauding, looking for its next victim, it seems. All the while we've got these 2 Volksgrenadiers going to go all the way around the east, probably to avoid the Maxim's cone of fire, but they may not end up doing that. KV2's opening up. No, they get outside of it just about. No, the frontal one is the last man just about gets targeted. The Maxim, if Crazyfire realises, will be able to... No, he's just going to retreat. He called that engagement rather late, probably because they were so far south in terms of how they flanked. First Panther coming on. You'll notice that a walking Stuka has been built, which will be great against such a congested line. KV2 gets a full squad wipe there on the Fallschirmjägers. Absolutely smashes that squad to smithereens. KV2, another good shot in there. 16 kills already. Here come the Panthers. They're pissed off at the KV2. Don't want it to be alive anymore. However, unfortunately, the SU-76 is also watching over. Being able to reverse out of there. In the centre, you've got the conscripts getting thwarted by the Panzerschwer. Stuka versus walking Stuka is now on the field. Probably very eager, Tomakaze is, to get this thing working for him. Should be noted that Crazyfire has now had the central victory point for a prolonged period, bringing Tomakaze a little bit down on his victory points. Only a little bit though, relatively speaking. Just opens up. Not the best first barrage I've ever seen. Just killing 2 models on the stolen... No, that's a Maxim rather. But the stolen MG34 is going to take his place and watch over the central victory point for him. But yeah, that stick of us, we're going to have to keep an eye on that thing. I mean, it only got 2 kills on his first salvo, but 1 good salvo in the right position, in the right direction, at the right time. And you could be talking about GG, in all honesty, if the Panthers are there to follow up on it, especially. The Maxim's now having to recap that fuel, because obviously the Volksgrenadier Fallschirms earlier capped it. Stern Pioneer's feeling very aggressive. The KV2's probably going to have a thing or two to say about that. Panzerschreck goes in on the rear arm of the KV2 though. It does have very vulnerable rear armour if you can get to it. Panthers acting as a symbiotic, incestuous relationship, moving as one. Another SU-76 storming onto the field. KV2's taking some big fire there. It's going to kill 2 models from the Volksgrenadier. The Panthers are getting a little bit too cocky. The 2 ZIS is going to open up on the frontmost Panther. We do see a delayed anti-tank grenade. If that was a little bit quicker, it probably could have had a lot more effect, to be honest. As the stick of Zeus's cooldown come in, he's got another 30 seconds left. Maxim setting up to watch over here now. That's probably a little bit Captain Hindsight talking, because that's where the infantry came from the first time. They might not come from that direction the second time. In terms of pop cap, he can't get another KV-8. He does have 89 now. He is probably just going to have to go for infantry if he wants to spend his manpower, which is climbing rapidly. KV-2 coming into the centre. He's going to come up against Shrek Fire. Stick of Resist does have a full salvo ready. We're going to keep an eye on it in our bottom right of our screen, ready for it. So I'm predicting it could be, as I said earlier, here it comes. He is on the centre, however he's moving expertly. Good movement, but it's been hit! Dear God, 1 ZIS wiped! The gun is still operatable though. Operable, that's the word. There we go. I got a word. I said the word. Fantastic. Panther is on the KV2. The two Su-76s, however, are going to probably reposition and thwart it. Mortar's climbed up to 9 kills, 2 conscripts trying to retake the centre, and it looks to me like the Soviet player Crazyfire is still in the more dominant position. KV2 now is going to come up against the Schwerpanzer headquarters. First shot was not on target, which is really bad because it's such a large structure. Maxim being pushed away by the Panthers, Volksgrenadiers, etc. Good Shrek shot in on the Su-76. The KV2 all the while doing not as great damage as you'd hope on the Schwer. I would have expected that to be dead by now, given its unique selling point is bunker busting. No, it's not quite a bunker, but still. Panther needs its wounds licking. Second Panther up to Veteran C2. Still operating as a Panther battle group, which is probably a better phrase than incestuous Panther relationship, because it has some co-precedent. That stolen MG34 has been real nuisance, because look at its large cone of fire. ISG opens up on it, but not much it can do seemingly at the moment. It's already got Veteran C3. Incendiary grenade can do a lot there. That's going to make it retreat. But the Maxim's just there to back up again. These 3 machine guns are really working for Crazyfire to keep the centre. But it's going to be such a long game, seemingly. We're going to need a real big all-in push from one of the 2 players to make this game come to a closing point. And, you know, before we all die of old age, seemingly, because Longoskaya lends itself to such long games that if Crazyfire is going to hold on, he's going to be really dragging this game into the hour-long mark, seemingly. Stickus this time claims the mortar. Nearly full health on the weapon, so it will just be recaptured. This repositioning, the 2 Su-76s are waiting for a Panther to get a little bit too cocky for its own good. KV2, 20 kills. Rolling very slowly back onto the battlefield, looking for its next target, scanning. Is it going to have the temerity to push? Maybe finish off? Yes. It's going to go for the Schwer, it seems. Panthers have got line of sight on the KV2 now. More damage in. 3rd health remaining on the Schwer. I mean, he's got pretty much everything he'd want out of it at the moment. Maybe all the Soldat he won't be able to build once it's dead. Here comes the second instance of airborne assault down. Schwer did get destroyed, however the KV2 is in peril because the Panthers are advancing. The Su-76s haven't quite got line of sight that they require. The ZIS has only just turned about face to face the right direction. KV2 is going to go down seemingly. One more shot from the Panther, especially if it counts as rear armour, and it does indeed get the penetration it required. This Panther's got a destroyed main gun, however no engine damage, so it can use the road bonus to get out of there. This Panther putting decent damage down on one of the Su-76s. The first one did indeed die. Fortunately for Crazyfire, it is the Vet 3-1 that remains. All the while we've had a flank on with Volksgrenadiers trying to get the cut-off. So great micro from Tomakaze operating multiple units at the same time. However, here comes the Katusha. That's opening up now. Not the greatest spread, it would seem, and here comes the bloody King Tiger. So he's got 2 Panthers and a King Tiger and a Schwer. Sorry, walking Stuka now. That's pretty unwieldy. Pretty ridiculous. Stukavicius is also ready to fire, so this may well end up. There goes Stukavicius is opening up. The walking Stuka doesn't quite kill as much as he might have liked. The King Tiger, however, is in a decent position to push forward and kill something. All the while, we've got the pesky Maxim keeping the Volksgrenadiers from gathering muster. Okay, the healthy Panther is coming up to help cover for the King Tiger. You've got a Vet 4 Volksgrenadiers getting in position. The Maxim, the only thing keeping him at bay at the moment. Pretty much the MVP for the Soviet Army, the Su-76, peppering him with fire. Tomakaze saying in chat, never would have I dreamed this armour on the old patch, and he's very right to say that. Oh my god! The fuel plane gets utterly obliterated there by probably most likely the pintle mounts of the Panther, the King Tiger, and it's the second Panther, which is here in base. He reversed all the way to base, doesn't even need to be alive at the moment seemingly, because Tomakaze's army is girthy, lengthy and penetrative. Yeah, he's in a dominant position, it must be said. Katusha is on the field though. It's had its one salvo and it's you know, waiting for its second. Not going to be much of a comeback mechanic vehicle though. He's going to need something more than a Katusha. King Tiger's watching over the west. Stern Pioneers are in decent position to cap that there. Mortar's still not being remanned. In terms of manpower, he's got obviously 100 remaining. He can keep spending that munitions, 100 munitions for every fuel drop, so he can get the fuel he possibly needs, but with the amount of empty air on the field, it's going to be difficult to keep using that ability now in the late game. Pentlemant's opening up. In fact, even the forward-facing gunner of the walking Stuka watching over the centre there. ISG opening up on the repair station. Going to try and diminish that thing's existence. Another walking Stuka barrage this time. Great shot off on the central base there. Oh dear God! The amount of kills in the centre. Doesn't quite get a wipe. Does reduce that combat engineer down to 1 man. All the while the conscripts are dancing around in this line of sight of a King's Tiger. That's not what you want to be doing. Two Panthers opening up there. SZCs though, they've got the frontal armour of the Panther in their sights. This Panther's going to have to retreat. Does indeed get the Panther kill. Could that be Crazyfire's way back into this thing? King Tiger, good shot off and on the Maxim. Probably going to see an anti-tank grenade come in. We've got more than enough munitions. No, we don't see it. 3 SZC is very Barton-esque SZC formation there. Panther's going around to try and finish off the repair station. It won't be too difficult to do that. There we go.
Supply sector under attack.
King Tiger's already up to 13 kills. Stuka is on 30 infantry kills and 1 building kill. ISG's not been too bad either. It's bloody, we've got loads of kills. Jesus Christ, 34. 4 pips of veterancy. This has been a titanic conquest. The SZCs are splitting. They're going to have to split. They want to be caught out of position. Sorry, that was the Katusha indeed coming down on the Vet 4 ISG, but that Katusha's firing blind. He must think that's where the battle group headquarters is, and he's fired there twice now, and it just isn't there. Panther repositioning. 3 SZC guns are lying in wait. Look at those over-arching lines of sight and fire, cones of fire, whatever you want to call them. The Panther's walking into them regardless. And he's going to have to get behind that shot blocker. Here comes the King Tiger though. This can do damage against SZCs, but you don't want to go against them when there's 3 of them. I mean, it can get a bit of splash damage in, but dear God, you don't want to do that with a King Tiger. Very expensive units. Seems that Tomakaze thinks he's won. He's just wasted his King Tiger. Stuka down on the SZC, 2 of them down. The King Tiger dies exactly the same time after having been out of control. All the while the Volksgrenadier is trying to cap the centre there. Luke's now built from the mechanised regimental headquarters. That's going to put some fire down on this SZC, no doubt. Anti-tank grenades can penetrate to Luke's if they need to. SZC has been remanned with merge from the conscripts. Anti-tank grenades gauges in. Another vehicle could be going down for Tomakaze here. This is Crazyfire showing some decent late game pressure. He is, however, down to 49 victory points. So all the while, if you remember, he didn't. Oh, there you go. The Katusha down by the Lukes in its death throes. If you remember, he did not get that central victory point in the early to mid game, and I think it's really cost him because No, he's got no vehicles left, so he's not in a position where he can push, to be honest. Two of those Iskons, in fact, are dead from that Suzuka barrage. They've been wiped out probably by the Panther firing on them, or even the Shreks. Hopefully no smoke. Signifying failed fuel deliveries, mostly, seemingly recently anyway. And it is indeed a triple cap. This game will be over very shortly. You will notice for every second there's a tick. For every 3 seconds there's 3 ticks. And Stuka to add insult to injury. Oh! Wipes the conscript, capping the centre. Nearly even gets fire on the Maxim there. Lonely Ziskun trying to penetrate the Panther. And there you go. GG, playback over. What a fantastic game. I'm off to now try and Sony Vegas my 2 separate cast files into one. Thank you for watching, and watch something about Legends. Legends Never Die Season 2. Company Heroes 1 action all this weekend. Starting at 4 PM GMT on Saturday and Sunday, and then at 7 PM GMT on Monday for the Grand Finals live. Very excited to bring you that with Complexity this weekend. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.